Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. We're on the air today thanks to Employee of the Month, Jammer B, John Slanina, who minutes before this show began got found out our ISDN lines were cut. They turned them off at the central office and was able to get us up and running on our new Comrex, which we got yesterday. Still in the box, our Brick 2. So thank you, John. Employee of the Month. Our Tech Guy podcast for Saturday, September 28th, 2019. This is episode 1630. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Zapier. Zapier connects all your business software and handles the work for you so you can focus on what matters most. Right now through November, go to zapier.com/techguy for your free 14-day trial. And by LastPass, a personal password manager and identity solution for businesses all in one. You only need one master password and let LastPass remember the rest. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. And by DigitalOcean. Deploy and scale your apps seamlessly on the simplest cloud platform. Join over 150,000 businesses that use DigitalOcean. Sign up today and receive a free $50 credit at do.co/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, the rigmarole of modern life. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number if you want to talk high tech. I'd love to talk with you. 888-827-5536. Mostly we get tales of woe. What can I do? My computer's not working. My thing's not booting. My printer's not printing. That kind of thing. But also I welcome, in fact, celebrate even input of all kinds. Suggestions, life stories. Anything with tech in it, I will talk about it. 8888 Ask Leo. That's toll free in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still reach me. Use Skype out or something like that to call. It should be free. I have a friend with a family in Israel, and they're on the phone all the time. I said, boy, doesn't that cost a lot? She said, no. It's called WhatsApp. WhatsApp? Oh, good thinking. It's free. Isn't that amazing? What a world. What a modern world. And yet I was thinking the other day about how something significant has changed in this world, and maybe not for the better. I think a guy named who self-styles himself the tech guy, probably you would think loves technology in all its flavors and forms. And I do. I celebrate technology. But, of course, the show's about the changes technology has wrought, whether positive or negative. And there is one area I'm starting to think maybe I don't like too much. When's the last time you wrote a check? Some of you I know. I mean, I have a checkbook. But, even if I need to write a check to the dentist or something, I often will just go to my bank and have them write the check, right? I might use 1 or 2 checks a year these days. Isn't that weird? Maybe you use more, but I think that's kind of the trend. How about cash? Do you use cash a lot? Lately, with the Apple Watch and the Apple Card and all that stuff, I just touch, I tap my watch against a thing or poke my card against a terminal and it's bing ba boom. I was thinking about that and realizing that software is a really good example. In the old days, we used to buy software. Remember that? You'd go to the software store. Yes, we had them, kids. Yeah, places that just sold software. Nowadays, you can go to the office supply store. They sell software. They have a whole aisle often devoted to software, mostly for the olds because kids know better. They don't go buy boxed software. Turns out, most of the time, you don't even buy software. You rent it. So, yeah, for like $700, you can buy Microsoft Office, or for a mere $10 a month, you can rent it. It's software as a service. SaaS, SaaS. And it's all the rage. Well, if you think about it, of course it is. Because essentially what companies like Microsoft are doing is they're putting an intravenous line into our bank account and slowly dripping money out of it. And that's not the only one. Netflix, everything. They all, and Apple, right? Apple last year said, we're not going to report in our annual and quarterly results. We're no longer to say how many things we've sold. Who cares? It's not about how many things we've sold anymore. Wait a minute, it isn't? No, it's about how much money per customer we make. How much money per customer we make. See, they want an annuity. You buy an iPhone, you give them $1,000. That's it. See you later. They notice that the phone company's making more money than they are over 2 years, maybe a couple of $1,000, not $1,000. So Apple had a thought. What if we started using services? Again, software as a service, hardware as a service, video games as a service. What if we did a service? But then we could put a little intravenous line into their bank accounts and drip the money out. How many lines do you have connected now to your bank account? If you did nothing, you just did nothing and watched, your bank account would slowly dwindle away. You got to keep putting more money in there. Well, that's called having a job. But I mean, you have to keep more, because not because you're going out and buying boxes of software or groceries even. How long before Amazon figures this out? Groceries as a service. Already they've got the meal boxes, right? Meals as a service, right? Blue Apron and HelloFresh, and they get you every month. Meals as a service. And this happened kind of gradually over time. You almost didn't notice it. But all of a sudden it drip. And if you're the company, you think about it, well, we could have one big lump sum from this guy, or we could have a monthly thing out of him. Of course, the best companies like Apple do both. Yes, we're going to charge you $1,000 for your new phone, and we're going to drip out of all the stuff out of you, all the services, the iCloud. First it was iCloud, right? They pushed that pretty hard. Oh, you need more iCloud. You should buy more iCloud. More storage in the cloud. You can buy, I just bought a 2 terabyte hard drive for $40. 2 terabytes, $40. But if you wanted 2 terabytes of storage on a cloud service, that cost you $100, $120 a year. Every year. Forever. Drip. Is this what we want? I mean, I know it's what the companies want. You can see why they want it. And sometimes I feel like if it's software I really like or use, that's good. I don't mind giving the guy an annual thing. That's more and more of the apps that you buy or not buy outright. That's why games now are all freemium, right? Oh, we'll give you the game free. That's no problem. It's game. Play it. It's free. I just got the new Mario Kart. I'm just waiting for the drip to begin. I know that somewhere Nintendo's going to say, "Oh, you having fun with Mario Kart? That'll be $20, please." Drip. You can't play a game these days without buying a little extra here and there now and then. Why not, save yourself the trouble. Why not get that monthly subscription? That's what Apple's doing with Arcade. Apple Arcade. $5 a month, 100 games. Just $5 a month. That's all. It's cheap. And then Google, within like a week of Apple announcing Apple Arcade, Google said, hold my beer. we got that. We can do that. Google Play, what do they call it? It's a subscription, $5 a month. Except for the first year, it's only $1.99. Yeah. There's a deal. And it's not just games, Google says. Oh, no, we got other stuff, too. Other stuff you really don't want. But hey, why wouldn't you? It's only $5 a month. Drip. Service. Oh, Mario Kart. Yep. So last year, remember they did Mario Runner, right? And that was $20, and that was a flat fee. I think Nintendo's learned because Mario Kart You want to keep playing? $4 a month. Wow. Are we going to, is this something I guess it's the present. It's nothing we can do about it, or is there? I don't know. I feel like I want to pull some of these lines out of my veins, out of my bank account and say, yeah, no, I don't. Well, for instance, you don't have to buy Microsoft Office for $8, $10, $15 a month. There's open source version of Office. It's quite good, called LibreOffice, Libre Office. Works on Mac, Windows, and Linux. And it's free. There's no drip involved. Nope, not even in the upfront. I like to support people, so I use some free software that I actually go to Patreon and give them some money every month, because I understand they got to work hard to create this stuff. I want to help them. I understand. That doesn't bother me so much. 8888 Ask Leo. Software as a service. Everything as a service. That's the future. Food as a service. That's the future. That's what they want us to do from now on. And I understand why they want to do it. Do you want to do it? Is this what you want to do? Do you like this idea? 8888 Ask Leo. And what do we do about it? Are there alternatives? I guess there are some alternatives. There's some things we can do. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I would like to talk about technology with you. What are your thoughts? Dr. Mom's coming up. She's going to tell us about the 25 things Amazon announced this week. Stay here. Yes, the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Hello, Kimmy.
Morning.
Taking our phone calls.
I am indeed.
I have to, we have a little, one of those Nest cams watching the studio. Not yours. Well, actually, yeah, your studio
Yeah, that's
too.
where I am.
Yeah.
Is it that one up there?
That studio, yeah. Never mind. Don't.
Is it that one over there?
But there's also one in my office, my studio, and because we're across the hall from each other, that's why. And apparently there was quite a bit of commotion in here earlier today.
And it caught it all on tape.
And
didn't
it caught it all. And John said, you should see the hour before you arrived. We didn't know if there was going to be a show.
That'll be exciting.
Our lines went down and all sorts. So I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you'll have to peek at that and see how crazy they were going and the sweat flying.
Yeah. Poor John. It's not easy being the studio manager for the tech guy.
He's a lifesaver.
He is a lifesaver, isn't he? So you've been taking the calls, answering the phones, working. Those lines never went down, did they?
Not today.
Yeah.
No, we got these
so
going
far,
today.
so good.
So far, so good. Don't jinx it.
Well, you know what's happening? I should give you a little inside baseball. What's happening is I remember the first high-speed internet I ever got, which was probably 1990 or thereabouts. Mm-hmm. I was using a dial-up modem until then. Yeah. That thing. And then they got something that came along called ISDN, Integrated Subscriber Digital. Anyway, it was from the
Integrated
Subscriber Digital Number. It came from the phone company, because the phone company at one point said, what we would really like to do is make as much money as the cable company. Mm-hmm. And so they thought we're going to do what they call video dial tone. They were Integrated Services Digital Network. That's it. It was it was a way to do voice and data down your twisted copper lines into your house. And they were all excited because they were going to be able to do video, movies, and stuff and compete with the cable company. Well, that didn't work so well.
Well, I don't think a private citizen could afford them.
Well, at the time,
I
the phone company,
understand they were extremely expensive.
That was the plan. Then they realized, no, nobody wants that. We can only do one movie at a time. Mm-hmm. So that kind of, and it only is capable of 128 kilobits, which isn't very fast. But at the time, for me, coming from a 56K modem, it was more than twice as fast. So I was very excited when I got my ISDN line in my house. I remember this vividly. Whew, that was very cool. It was probably, let's see. No, it was later. It was maybe 95 or 96. It was early days of the internet. Well, for all these years, we've been using ISDN lines to do the radio show. A lot of radio people do that. That's what Rush uses, ISDN lines from his home in Florida.
Yep.
And radio was the kind of the last user of this stuff. Nobody uses it for high-speed internet. It's only 128 kilobits, but it's enough for high-quality audio. Mm-hmm. But the phone company doesn't want to run these switches, and the phone company's been slowly phasing them out. When we moved here 3 years ago, we were able to get an ISDN line in here, but it wasn't easy. There was one person at AT&T in a closet, one person in charge. And if you just called the AT&T rep, they didn't even know what you're talking about. You had to say, well, can I talk to Maggie in the closet behind you? And then she could get you set up. Yeah. Well, that's gone now, apparently, because this morning we came in and the ISDN line. It's gone. They kind of yanked. I imagine Maggie pulling the wire from her end, and it went
Maggie
the way back.
Maggie either retired or got laid off a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. A robot did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we came in, and the line was gone. John, fortunately, we had received yesterday from the good folks at the Premier Networks who bring you this show, we had received a box, it's called a Comrex box, that uses the plain old internet. So you and I are talking via the internet now.
I do that all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Big deal, right? Oh, you mean...
I do it all day, every day.
Oh, you mean like normal people? Yeah.
I don't even use the telephone. I just use the internet portion. So.
Well, that's exactly how we do it now.
Yep.
Like everybody else. Yep. So that's the inside story. Kim, who should I start with here?
How about Mike in San Diego?
Now that we've used up all his time.
Yeah, I know. He's got an issue with his iPad since updating the operating system.
Since
cutting and pasting with his pencil, I think he said.
Oh, interesting.
Something like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Mike. Leo Laporte, the tech
Hi, Leo. Hi, Leo. I love the show. Since I updated to the new OS,
13.1.
Well, and this morning I went to 13.1.1 and it didn't fix it.
Yes.
So you can't. The copy and paste menus don't work in most apps with the Pencil 2 now.
It's now a gesture.
You've experienced it?
It's a gesture now.
Well, for example, in Mail, you can use it in the text of the message, but it doesn't work in the subject or the address field.
I've noticed this myself, even with the pencil or even with your fingers. And I don't know if it's a bug or this is Apple's new thing, because they have this new gesture-based copy and paste. Pinch with 3 fingers. This is going to even be embarrassing to say out loud. Pinch with 3 fingers to copy, then unpinch with 3 fingers to paste. To cut, pinch twice. Cursor movement's a little better because you just press and hold the cursor and move it around, or if you have the keyboard open, you do it. But you're right, the pencil. I don't know what happens to the old style with the pencil.
Because it does work with the stylus or your finger. You can; those menus do come up.
Oh, good.
And with the pencil in iMessage, not at all. In Safari, you can copy and paste if you're filling out fields in web forms, but you can't do it in the address bar.
I'm thinking this is intentional, but I don't know what they've replaced it with. There is one tip that might help: tap and hold with 3 fingers. And supposedly a shortcut bar will pop up. Supposedly. I think this is... Apple hasn't fully thought this out yet. I will keep looking for a better way to do it. Try the long press. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's crazy. It's crazy what they've done. I was worried when they announced this. And I agree with you. Now, so you use the pencil instead of your fingers, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I keep a stylus handy just in case, and because I just don't like to smudge up the screen, and the stylus works just fine, just like it used to.
The stylus? What do you mean by stylus? Oh, just like...
one of those...
Yeah, because that's your finger. It's not distinguishing between... Yeah. So it's as if you're doing it with a finger. So they've somehow modified the pencil... thing. That may be a bug. That may be something. What'd they say?
I called them, and the technician said, I haven't heard it before. He said, but it sounds like something that either they changed or it's an oversight. And he says maybe if they get a bunch of calls, they'll change it.
All right, okay, I'm looking. New version of the most popular iPad. Blah blah blah. Let's see this new thing with the pencil. Now you have a pen. Which pencil do you have? Pencil 1 or Pencil 2?
Pencil 2 with iPad Pro.
With iPad OS, Apple Pencil is even more integrated. You see, you're wrong. It's even more integrated. It says so right here. Customers can now mark up and send entire web pages. I don't want to do that. Redesigned tool palette gives quick access to tools. I don't care about that. Apple Pencil feels more natural. Okay. How about cutting and pasting? Yeah, I think they...
Or at least leave an option for it.
I know. You know, I don't have my iPad Pro in front of me, so it's at home. I'll try this tonight. It sounds to me...
I appreciate it.
Sounds to me that they have screwed this up a little bit. And you can do it with your stylus, though, because it thinks that's a finger. It's really that the pencil doesn't do it.
But it's strange that in certain places the pencil does work.
Yeah.
For copy and paste. Like I said, in the message of an email and in Fields and Safari.
My guess, it's totally a guess, would be that there is a new kit, a new kit for handling these gestures, and some apps are using it and some are not. Would be my guess. What is it? Did all the Apple apps use it or no? Does it work with, like you said, Safari and Mail do or do not?
Mail generally only in the message area. iMessage not at all. Safari not in the address bar.
So Apple should support this better than anyone, right?
Right. Now I understand it it's more obvious in Notes and in Pages where they expect you to be drawing with it.
Right.
But you would think in these fields and this used to work. You would think they would.
Yeah, I wonder if they decided. Oh, who would use a pencil in this situation? You must be using your finger.
Right.
You just don't like getting fingerprints on the screen. I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it and we'll get back to you. Hey, I appreciate the tip though, because that's something to look into. We'll talk about it on our shows for sure if they screwed this up.
Fantastic.
All right. Take care. Thank you for the call. All right. Our show today brought to you by... Actually, it really is brought to you by Zapier in more ways than one. I love Zapier. Zapier is a automation tool at Zapier, Zapier.com/techguy that lets you connect up all the things you do in your life. Basically, it's like programming without programming. I always have an adage, programmers have an adage, if you do it more than once, you should automate it. If you're doing anything repetitive, you should automate it. I'll give you an example. Part of the workflow for this show is I go through all the tech news sources and I bookmark stories that are of interest. And then I send them to my producer, Karsten, so he can put them in the rundown. There's a rundown for many of our shows. He does a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. I also tweet them. I have a special Twitter account, links_for_twit, the podcast network, links for twit, and that tweets them. But here's the thing. I don't do all of those things individually. No. It's easy for me. I press a button, basically. When I'm in my newsreader, if I highlight a story, Zapier jumps in, and it's so amazing. It does all of those things. It tweets it, puts it on Pinboard, and adds a line to the spreadsheet with all the relevant information. I set that up once, and you don't have to be a programmer or a developer. It's easy to do. You don't have to call in the engineers. You can do it yourself. Great for business. I mean, if you find yourself during your day moving data from emails, maybe to a spreadsheet or your CRM software, or cutting and pasting. If you're cutting and pasting at all, you need Zapier. Zapier connects to over 1,500 apps and couldn't be better. It's the easiest way to automate your work. You focus on what matters to you and let Zapier do the repetitive stuff. Engage your leads instantly, automatically import new customers, notify your team about opportunities. One thing Zapier does so well, they support multi-step zaps. So you heard my zap. One button click, 4 or 5 things happen. Boom, 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 just like that. Multi-step is the key. Plus, it's very easy. The interface, you should go to Zapier.com/techguy, set up the 14-day free account, and play with it. See what you can do. It's really easy. And don't be scared by the notion that you're programming, because really it's just click this, drag that, and you're done. Build the exact solution you need in minutes without writing code or asking a developer for help. You can automate your life, make your life easier. I have so many Zaps now. And anytime I find myself doing something more than once, boom, I go to Zapier.com/techguy. I'm not alone. 4.5 million people use Zapier. And get this. On average, they save 40 hours a month. That's an entire work week. They don't have to work. Zapier does it for them. Make more time to grow your business. Right now through November, try Zapier free by going to Zapier.com/techguy. I'm such a big believer in Zapier. I've been using it for years. I discovered it many years ago. And I have the basic starter account, and it's great. I just love it. But try it for free. You can decide. Zapier, Zapier.com/techguy. 2 weeks free. Thank you, Zapier. Thank you for doing a great service. That's what it is. And thank you for supporting us by going to Zapier.com/techguy. Ladies and gentlemen, the magic music tells me one thing. It's time to talk home theater with our home theater geek, Scott Wilkinson, contributor at TechHive.com. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How you doing, man?
I am well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. Finally, it's cooling off. A little bit of rain in L.A., actually.
Nice, isn't it? We were, we kind of, here in Northern California, I'm sure you two down there, but waiting as we head into wildfire season.
Yeah.
Really hot temperatures for a while and high winds, and PG&E was turning off the electricity.
Ooh, did you get blacked out there?
We were waiting. I was thinking maybe I won't be doing a radio show, but no. The blessed coolness came, and a little bit of rain and all of that.
Very nice.
At least for now, has ameliorated the situation.
Indeed.
So it's good weather to go inside and watch more TV.
That's right. And in fact, a listener, Jonathan Wander in Pittsburgh, PA, sent me a really nice note and echoed a question that a friend of mine asked me the same week, which is, I'd like to stay under $1,000 and get a 65-inch TV. What do you recommend? So that's pretty easy, actually.
Let's say it together. Let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Vizio.
Actually, I'm going to amend that slightly.
Good.
Vizio is still well recommended.
Yes.
He wants to get a 65-inch. He actually listens to what I say, which is very gratifying. He says he wants to get 65-inch 4K HDR full array local dimming LCD, which is the way to go.
He's got a shopping list. Okay.
He does. So he asked these questions. Because of what I watch, which is mostly TCM or sports, is upscaling a major consideration? The answer is yes, but it always is. Even with a 4K TV, most of what you're going to watch is less than that. It's 1080p or less.
Sports is often 720p. ESPN
That's right.
is 720p.
That's
technically
exactly right.
high def, but not.
Yes, technically high def, but certainly nowhere near 4K. And so upscaling is critically important. But Vizio and the other company that I will recommend, TCL, both do a fine job with upscaling. Most TVs do now. It's really not a problem. He asked, would you have a preference between Vizio and TCL? He's thinking of the Vizio M series, the M658G1, which is a fine choice, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then he says he has a Vizio soundbar that he likes very much, but his previous TV is like a 40-incher or something, and so should he get a bigger one? Well, that'd be nice, but it's not necessary. The one you have will work just fine. And does that make a difference in choosing a Vizio over something else? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It'll work with any TV. So I've got 3 recommendations for you. The one you recommend, or the one you specify, the M658G1 is $800, so under $1,000
for 65 inches, and it's got all those nice features.
Yeah. Now it's also based on quantum dots, which is a technology we've talked about before. It results in brighter colors, wider range of colors, generally a brighter picture. It has 90 falled zones. So the more zones you have in this full array local dimming backlight kind of situation, which I definitely recommend, the better. And so 90 is not bad. The Vizio P659 has 200 zones, which is much better, but it costs $1,100, so it's just over your $1,000 budget. If you can swing it, that's the one I would get. Absolutely. It does push your budget a little bit by 10%, but you're going to get a really great set. Now, the other one I want to recommend is from TCL. They've had the 6 series for a number of years, and it's really very good.
They've been very aggressive. I think they want to get in the U.S. market, and so they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they went so far as to buy the naming rights to the famous Chinese theater in Hollywood.
The Grumman Theater is now the TCL Theater?
TCL Chinese Theater,
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Anyway, the 65-inch 65R625, these model numbers, what can you do, is also $800, same as the Vizio M series, and it has 120 of these local dimming zones, so 50% more than the M series. Not only that, it has a Roku interface, which I really like, and I just read this as I was preparing to talk to you today. Later this year, TCL is coming out with an app for your smartphone, for an Android or iPhone, that will do a basic calibration with its camera.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Very interesting.
Can that be accurate? I guess it could. These cameras are pretty good nowadays.
Are pretty darn good. Now, it's not going to be as good as a multi-$1,000 colorimeter, but it's going to get you pretty close, I bet. I can't wait to try it. I mean, I don't think it's out yet, but it's a free app that if you own the TV, you'll just be able to download it and no problem.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive.
So that's the TCL? Wow.
Yeah, TCL 65R625, which is also based on quantum dots. And very interestingly, I found TCL is now starting to use the term QLED, which I thought Samsung had copyrighted. Maybe they can't. I don't know. Because they're now starting to use this term QLED to mean quantum dot LED backlight.
Not OLED. There's just a little tick there on that O that makes it a Q.
Exactly
They're hoping you won't notice.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's an OLED. Great, I'll buy that. No. It's a QLED.
Wow. Okay.
Samsung was very smart in coming up with that term.
Smart or sneaky?
One of the, yeah. Or both.
But really, it's a quantum dot LED. It's a QLED.
That's what it's a QLED.
Can't help it that it's a little confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not our fault.
Anyway, so if you really have to stay under $1,000, I would get either the Vizio M series or the TCL R625. And I would lean towards the TCL.
Really? And you think it's picture quality? I mean, I get all the specs are better, but the picture quality is as good or better?
Equal, yeah. I'd say comparable. Absolutely comparable. Absolutely comparable. And in part, I would choose that because of the higher number of local dimming zones, and I would choose it because of this app.
I know.
And the Roku interface.
It's going to put people like you out of business.
Yeah, well.
Scott does calibration, among other things. At least you're trained to do that. Do you do it like as a business, or do you just do it because it was a good thing to know for your...
Well, it was a good thing to know for reviewing TVs.
Right, for sure.
I've done a few, You
did mine, but you didn't charge me.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't charge you, no.
I should send a check. The check's in the mail.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, I love it. I mean, every time I look at my Samsung or my Hisense, I go, man, I like these calibrated TVs. It really does make a difference. And to be able to do it, at least get it somewhat done by yourself is pretty good.
Is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to look at this app. Anyway, Jonathan, that's what I recommend, and best of luck to you.
We have to add a new name to our low price recommendation. Not just Vizio these days. TCL.
Not just Vizio. TCL. I really think they're.
Who makes? Do Vizio and TCL make their own panels, or do they get them from somebody else?
No, I'm sure they get them from somewhere else.
LG.
I don't know that for a fact. Yeah. I don't know that for a fact. All OLEDs, virtually all OLEDs, come from LG Display, which is the LG's R&D arm.
Right.
The Panasonic OLEDs, I think, do not, but they're not available in the U.S. Well, they are, but not really. Only in Europe. But most TV makers have their Samsung makes its own panels.
Yes, I know.
But I think most other people outsource their panels.
Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek. You can find his work at techhive.com. And, of course, you can email him, Scott at techhilabs.com, with your questions. He always likes to help people, as he did today. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
Dr. Mom coming up with a look at all the new Amazon devices in just a bit. So,
man, I'm seriously delayed at this point.
You're lagging. No, you just got better. Oddly enough.
How odd.
Oddly enough, I know.
I just rebooted my computer before I came on.
That's the weird thing. It's just not predictable. What OS are you using? What version of the OS?
Oh, what version of the OS? I'll tell you in a minute. I'm on a Mac. I'm on a laptop, a MacBook. 10.12.6.
Oh, well, that might be something to do with it. You're kind of behind.
Oh, I guess we're at 10.14 now, right?
Yeah, we're the current version is 10.14.5.
Oh, okay.
Is it such an old device that you can't?
I don't know. It's from let's see. It's pretty old. It's a MacBook Pro Retina from late 2012.
Yeah, you should be able to get that to Mojave.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it won't let you if you can't. But I would get it to the most. Go to the App Store and get it to the most recent version you can. That may help.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that for next week.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Meanwhile, all yours.
Thank you.
And we should really give you a new computer is what we should do. I'll talk to the boss. See what the boss can do for you.
If you want to do that, I'm happy to accept.
Yeah.
I could dedicate it just to this.
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever. But I think I think a new fast Mac Mini would be a good choice for you.
Sure. So let's see. I got 2.5 minutes. Key 43 says I went into soldering a capacitor, but I have a Samsung TV, and while replacing some LEDs for the blacklight, I assume backlight, I need new T-Com board. Oh man. First of all, Keith 43, I admire your bravery at being willing to go into a TV and start soldering and replacing boards and replacing capacitors. I mean, wow. That's much farther than I would go. So let's see. Hit the edge. Let's see. I need a new T-Com board. I hit the edge of the screen, cracked. Now 3 inches down is not displayable, but the rest of the TV works. Those screens are not cheap. No, they should not. Yes, I would stop now and get a new TV. It's the UN65H6203H. I forget what year that is, but it's old. It's a few years old at least. And if you crack the screen, just get a new TV, really. Not only that, but as I was just talking about, you can get a Vizio or a TCL for under $1,000. That's going to be better than that Samsung, particularly because they have this FALD, F-A-L-D, full array local dimming, behind the screen, as opposed to this TV, which I'm pretty sure is edge lit around the edges. And if you have the money, I'd go for the Vizio P series Quantum, 65-incher for $1,100. It has 200 local dimming zones. Doesn't have Roku, and it doesn't have this cool new app, which I hope it's cool. I haven't seen it yet, but I do want to look at it and check it out. Dr. Mom Grandma, what do I think of the new Sonos Move? Haven't seen it or heard it yet.
I love it.
Do you? Yeah, you have one?
Yeah. The only issue with it is that it's easy to get it out of the Wi-Fi range, unfortunately.
Oh, doesn't have a strong receiver.
Well, it seems not, but you can always use Bluetooth. Hey, you going to stick around for the top?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, stay here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. First song they played on MTV, right? Video killed the radio star. How's MTV doing these days? 88. That's a vicious radio comment if you ever heard one. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Look who's on the line. Dr. Mom. Hello, Dr. Mom.
Hey, Leo.
You've become our de facto Amazon Echo expert.
Well, I like it. I've been using it ever since I got in early on the original Echo. Remember when you couldn't get it and I'd gotten in?
And you seem to buy everything from Amazon. I mean,
not quite.
No?
They released a lot of stuff this month, and I'm not buying most of it.
Oh, yeah. What did they announce? 25 new devices.
Pretty much. I sent you a link if you want to put it in the show notes of most of the new stuff. Some of it is real vaporware.
Well, as before, like with their microwave, but also some of it is you have to get in the you have to kind of apply to get it.
Right. It's similar to what they did with the Echo Auto.
Right.
And I didn't get that till about 2 months ago.
Right.
So some of these. Okay. Well, basically what they did, let's kind of break it down. There's a lot of updates in the, I don't want to say the A word, Echo line.
Yes.
They've announced the Echo Studio, which is like the big standard Echo on steroids.
I think this looks pretty attractive because it's going to be the bigger the speaker, the better the sound usually. And those who heard it at the event said this studio sounds very good.
It's supposed to sound good. It's supposed to be able to do 3D sound. See how well that works. I'm not going to order. It also is a hub. So if you have a smart home and you want to start resetting everything, rebuilding everything, similar to the Echo, standalone Echo.
If there's a kind of a subtext to this whole announcement is that everything is kind of a hub, everything is kind of Echo. They want you to basically have Echo everywhere and control your home automation from the Echo, right? Is that
you mean like in my house?
In your house, yes. In your car, in your patio. Everywhere.
Oh, I walk into the house and I shout at the house to do stuff.
Yes. So, and I guess that's the theory is once you get used to telling your house to do stuff, well, you're going to need one everywhere. You're going to need one in every room.
Oh, I get nuts. I walk into somebody's house, I start yelling at it to do things, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, to be fair, you did that before you got an Echo, just to be fair.
Right. I was on the Smart Things Kickstarter, and I still use that integrated with the Echo. But the Echo, I just talk to it now, and it tells Smart Things what to do and turns everything on and off. The studio looks very interesting.
It kind of it's the ice bucket size. Somebody said I think it was Stacey Higginbotham says the size of an ice bucket. Kind of looks a little bit strangely like Apple's HomePod.
Exactly.
It's a cylinder.
This one, I think has legs on it because the HomePod's gone nowhere.
No, yeah. But I think they're going after the same market, which is the kind of I want my music to sound a little bit better market.
And I will tell you, it is less expensive than getting a Sonos 3 or Sonos 5 and putting an Echo input into the auxiliary jack.
What about though this? I would expect it to sound more like a Sonos 1, but I haven't heard it, so we'll have to just wait and see.
Well, with the subs and such, I'm betting it's closer to a 3.
Maybe it has a little more rumble.
Yeah.
Other
things they did, they updated the standard, cylinder Echo, put some more capacity into it. The Echo Dot, the only change they made, and you mentioned this on This Week in Google, was now it shows the time.
I love that.
Little
it's got a
LED
little clock
lights
on it.
the side.
Yeah, so you could put it by your bed.
Well, that's another thing. You notice they issued a Show 8. Before that, they had a 5 and a 10, referring to the screen size.
Yeah.
They now have 3 sizes. If you go to Amazon, the Spot is gone. They did not officially announce its demise, but you cannot buy it anywhere anymore.
But this is a hallmark of a company that's really paying attention to what's selling. They throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall. So when you do that, when you announce all these products, you've got to kill the products that aren't popular. And the Spot, I guess, is one of them.
I think one of the big objections people had to the Spot, and I know your wife
You had to press the button.
I ended up putting putting color forms over it with that camera.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I have one in my closet. Yeah, that's right. It has a camera. It's cute.
Nobody wanted a camera at your bedside. I don't think the Echo went anywhere because nobody wanted the camera taking pictures of you getting dressed.
Yep.
This one, the newer shows all have a manual shutter built in.
I think that's very smart.
You're not dependent on going into the software to do it, and that's not the light sensor. Remember how they would sit there and bring the brightness up and down?
Yeah, so if you covered up the spot dot, the camera, the spot wouldn't know what the darkness was.
Right, and that they seem to have fixed, which is good because my Echo Spot just died, so I just ordered a 5.
Oh, good.
To go. Yeah,
I always liked the Echo Show. I thought I was one of the few people who said, this is great. And, it must have done well because not only does Amazon have 3 models now, but Google's competing directly with them with their Hub Max.
Yeah, I think it did better once they went to the second generation format and you didn't have that big speaker on the bottom.
Right.
And it was really all speaker. Other things, the Echo Flex is, all I can think of is they're trying to turn it into an every room intercom announcement system. That's what we thought too. This is a plug, right? It's a plug that goes in, and it has a USB port on the bottom, so they say you can use it to charge things. But if you've noticed, there's 2 accessories already you can add to it. You can put in a motion sensor or a nightlight. See, I think this is great. Now, does that make the USB plug not work, or does the USB plug still work? Correct. It goes into powers and communicates through the USB. Oh, so you're using up that USB charger. However, on my Hughes, my Philips Hue lights, I bought the motion sensor, and that's really nice. When I go in my office, the lights turn on. And I think that's a very nice feature. I have motion detectors otherwise around the house. To me, the motion detector and the nightlight are a little bit awkward because if you think about them, you want those close to ground level. Yes. That's not where you want the speaker. True. The speaker you want on desk level about. I have to think, though, that the speaker, because it's not very big. I'm sure it is. It's probably there, too, since Amazon now owns Ring, to say your doorbell is ringing. Oh, you want to talk to it. Sure, that's what it is. If you're in the kitchen and you yell, dinner's ready, it's going to make that announcement. It's not really designed to be one of the sound system devices. No, but what it is designed is to put an Amazon microphone in every hallway, in every room. I mean, this is clearly their goal. And I wonder if people will push back. People are nervous about the idea of having Amazon's cameras and microphones in their house everywhere. Yep. But there are people like me who just, I don't care. I'm putting them everywhere. So maybe that's for me. Well, I've got them in every room, too, because... Yeah, you want to yell at your house. I also, if I'm sitting there and I'm in the kitchen and my husband's in his office, which is in the far wing of the house, instead of having to yell down the hallway, right. I can just say, announce dinner is ready, announce it's time to leave. Our 16-year-old didn't like that because I put the Echo in his room so that I could say, Michael, get up. Breakfast, school, and within a day he unplugged it. What happened when you put it in the Big Mouth Bass? Did you still unplug it? I gave him the Big Mouth Bass for Christmas, hoping he would not. He never even set that up. He does not. I think he does not want that in his room. Every time, in fact, if we leave, if we go away for a day or two, I come back and everything's been unplugged. I don't think he is. And I think this is not unusual. The young people today, they understand how their privacy is being impinged upon. Dr. Mom, thank you so much. We're out of time, and you just barely scratched the surface of all the new stuff, including a new dog tag that Amazon is doing. They're updating their Eero Wi-Fi devices. Amazon has been busy, and the new Echo Buds, and I'm sure you're ordering those. In fact, I think I saw you are, so I'd love to hear your opinion of those once you get it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I'd love to hear from you if you want to talk high tech. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All yours, Scotty. I'm going to go get a cup of Joe.
Go get a cup of Joe. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you all. 2-Bit in the chat room said, I have an old 720p Samsung Plasma. How long will it last? And Twisted Mister is agreeing with me. It could last for years, or it could die tomorrow or today. There's just no way to know. We talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show, that we used to have TVs in my parents' day and my grandparents' day. TVs, people would hold on to their TVs and use them for 20 years. And Nowadays, you replace them more like in 5 or less. If you're a geek, you might replace it every year to get, the latest and greatest. But I think most people, it's probably around 5 years. That's a lot shorter lot faster turnaround than it used to be in the previous generations. But there it is. Yet here's 2-Bit, who still has his 720p plasma and it's still working fine. Somebody else in the chat room. Let me see if I can find who they are. Tokyo Tony. Oh no, he has a different question. I'll say that in a minute. Back in Philly is watching on a Pioneer plasma. Watching this show on a Pioneer plasma. So hey, back in Philly, good on you. I actually still have a Pioneer Kuro plasma myself. I don't use it anymore, but it's still there. I have a friend of mine who still has one and uses it. So, it's going to die, though, at some point. All electronics do, and it'll probably be the power supply or some other of the electronics. And then it's going to be time to upgrade and replace and get something newer and cooler. Tokyo Tony is mentioned in the chat room. Did you hear about the dirty screen effect with TCL? I didn't. You sent me a link to YouTube, which I'm not going to click on right now because that'll take me to YouTube and I'll have to watch it. And that won't make for very interesting live streaming, will it? I have to look into that. I haven't heard of that specifically with TCL. I've heard of it with a lot of TVs. All digital displays have the potential to look like you're looking through a screen door if you're close enough to examine and see the actual pixels in the image. But if you're far enough away that you don't see the individual pixels, that your eyes and visual system can't resolve the actual pixels, then it shouldn't be a problem. Now, if there's something else that I'm not catching, Tokyo Tony, let me know. And I will look into that, because if that is a problem, then I would have to alter my recommendation of TCL. But TCL, last year's 6 Series was among the best reviewed TVs ever, and by very highly reputable reviewers. So I can't imagine that the 2019 version would be worse. I honestly can't imagine that. But you never know. Let's see. Mike B says, at least 3D TV is dead. Yeah, it kind of came and went, didn't it? Again. Although, interestingly, it's not dead in projectors. Most consumer projectors still have that capability. And they use typically active glasses. So they synchronize the glasses. The glasses are LCD shutters, and they alternately close and open. So left is open, right is closed, left is closed, right is open, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the left eye and right eye images are played by the projector sequentially. And that happens fast enough that your eyes don't see it, hopefully, and you end up with a 3D image. So it's interesting to me that projectors didn't abandon it. It's still there, almost universally. But in TVs, it's gone. Totally gone. Tokyo Tony has the TCL 6 Series. What do you think, Tokyo Tony? You have it, and you can see the dirty screen effect, which is sometimes called DSE, dirty screen effect. Well, I'm going to have to look into that. I had not heard that was a real problem. Let's see. Maverick 56 has an LCD TV from Samsung. Had it for 9 years. There you go. See, the other part of the whole cycling problem or phenomenon is that technology moves much faster today than it did, and that's true throughout all technology sectors. But in TVs, it's certainly true. In our parents' generation, you didn't have the big steps and leaps in technological advancement year to year that you do now. And I just saw somebody here saying that they still have a CRT TV, and there are a few people that still have a CRT TV. those big tube TVs. And those are the ones that lasted 20 years. I often wonder whether or not manufacturers, build in obsolescence somehow. I kind of would doubt that it would be as bad as, writing code into the software that says after 5 years, fry the board, fry the power supply or something like that. I mean, that sounds kind of conspiracy theory-ish to me, so I would tend not to believe it. But I think more to the point, technological advances have taken bigger leaps. And so now we have 4K. Soon we will have 8K. We now have HDR. And we have various flavors of HDR. And the early HDR TVs didn't do Dolby Vision, but now a lot of them do. So, if you want those enhanced capabilities, we also have much better video processors. So if you're upscaling lower quality content like streaming or DVD or Blu-ray in the case of a 4K, you want better video processing, because if it's not really good, then the picture's going to look lousy. So that's another reason that we might want to upgrade one's TVs a little more often. Web 6425, do I review streaming services? No, I don't typically. That's a pretty big job to review streaming services. Oh, how interesting. Swamp Rat says, the new LG I bought for the bedroom looks extremely washed out if you go slightly off center. Looks fine if you are directly in front of it. Yes, that is true. That is a characteristic of LCD TVs. Period. End of story. Nothing you can do about it. Now, interestingly, LG, there are two different kinds of LCD panels, IPS and VA. I won't go into what those mean. IPS generally has better off-axis viewing, but poorer black levels. VA is the opposite, has better blacks, less wide viewing angles. So I'm a little bit surprised that your LG looks extremely washed out, going even slightly off center. There you go.
Thank you, Scotty. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks. See you next week.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, hi. How are you? Good to see you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches. We had a caller in the first hour talking about the Apple Pencil and the new iPad OS 13.1.1, saying there's things I can do with my finger that I can't do with the pencil. How many times have I heard that? Including a copy paste. Well, Web4388 in our chat room says the Apple Pencil can't open the notification center or the control center on the iPad OS either. You have to use your fingers. So it sounds like whether this is a bug or a feature, I'm holding out for bug. Sounds like the pencil has been somewhat limited in the new iPad OS. I think it's a completely fair thing to expect that the pencil will do everything your finger can do. Right? That's not too much to ask. If my finger can do it, my pencil should be able to do it. But apparently that's not the case on iPad OS. It's interesting, isn't it? They came out with 13.0 when the new iPhones were shipping, September 19th. That's because they built these iPhones months before, and that was what's on them. But they already knew by the time the iPhones were coming out, September 20th, they already knew that there was something wrong with 13.0, a security flaw at least, and a number of bugs, which reviewers noted. They had planned on releasing 13.1 at the end of this month, right about now, I think. Maybe the 30th, I think maybe was the plan. They pushed that up by a week, probably because of this security flaw, which lets somebody access your information from your phone from the lock screen. Historically has been a problem with iPhones going back way back when. I don't know why, but they just can't get that right. There's just some things that Apple just can't get right. That's one of them. So they pushed out on September 24th, just a few days later, they pushed out 13.1. iPad OS, I think, had to wait a little bit, didn't it? Or did it come out then? I guess it did come out then. Wasn't supposed to come out to the 30th. And then yesterday we got 13.1.1. I have a friend who says never do the first Apple update, major update. Never do the update to the update. So don't do 13.0, he says. Don't do 13.1, he says. Do the update that fixes the things that the update to the update broke. By then, it should be pretty reliable, 13.1.1. That's what we've got today. However, it sounds like there's still a few things a little bit wrong. I say all this only to reassure you. It's not you, it's them. It's not you, it's them. I talk to people all the time who just are normal people. They're not geeks. There's something about people like me, something wrong with me and people like me. We like new things. We like constant change, and we love kind of delving into it and finding the flaws and the fixes and, the new features and all that stuff. That's fun for us. We will stay up all night playing with the new iPhone, which I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. What do you take me for? You don't get to be the tech guy unless you're willing to do some all-nighters. And that's fun. We think of that. That's fun for us. For other people, it's torture. I understand. Torture. You don't want to do that. We just want it to work, please. Is that too much to ask? Please don't make me stay up all night. Please. Well, I won't. I won't make you stay up all night. I will. Then we'll try to solve it together. They're saying, the chat room saying that 13.1.1 resolved a battery issue. This is a problem Apple doesn't tell you, of course. And if there is an issue with the pencil, and it sounds like there is, then maybe there'll be a 13.1.2 sometime soon. Mike B. But it's chat room day today in Piscataway, New Jersey. Hey, Mike B.
Hey, Leo. So, calling today because there is some information that you were talking about last week about the pre-roll ads for the TiVo.
So TiVo annoyed many of us, especially those of us who had paid for lifetime subscriptions, by saying, we're going to start putting ads in front of all your recordings. Which is funny because TiVo is one of the few companies that lets you skip ads in the recordings. There's a little button, you boom, doop, skips right through it. I love that feature. But
So there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about what TiVo was planning last week when this story first broke. I've been doing some research over the last week on the TiVo forums to get some additional information. There's a gentleman by the name of TiVo Ted. His real name is Ted Malone. Mm-hmm. He's the Vice President of Consumer Products and Services at TiVo.
Oh, so he's inside. Okay.
Yep, he's inside. So he definitely confirmed that the pre-roll ads are definitely coming, but they're not going to show up for anything recorded on some ad-free networks. He didn't say which ad-free networks. I would assume those would be your typical premium channels.
You know what this makes me think, Mike B? This makes me think there was a lawsuit, which we never heard about. There was a lawsuit or there was some sort of legal confrontation over their ad skip feature. And their settlement was, okay, fine, you could put an ad before every recording. I bet you that's what this is.
Well, what he said, actually, because people asked about that, and I'm going to give you a direct quote from him. This is what he said. It's a lot of legal speak here. Quote, mechanisms like targeted advertising, content delivery, and premium services are all going to be needed in order for TiVo to help bring down the out-of-pocket costs for consumers over time.
I already paid for my TiVo, and I gave them a lifetime subscription. There is no more out-of-pocket cost to me.
Absolutely, and that's what everyone is saying.
That's BS, dude.
I agree. But here's some good news. The ads are going to be skippable.
Really?
So,
I can press the green button and it'll go ding.
Exactly. He said that you still be able to skip them like you do for traditional ads. But there is one problem with that. Right now, the experience for getting those ads are not the best. You get a blue circle as the ad downloads, and it's very low quality. They're going to try to improve that experience of delivering those ads to you.
You haven't seen that yet on your TiVo, have you?
No. The reason why I haven't, and this is one of the pieces of good news, if you have a Romeo or Premiere or anything that's not a Bolt or an Edge, you're not going to see it. At least that's what the general consensus is. But if you have the Bolt or the forthcoming Edge, you will see it. But there's an additional piece of good news. Even if you have a Bolt, if you downgrade to what's known as the TiVo Experience 3 version of the interface, you won't get the ads. But the drawback is you will lose all of your recordings.
Right. Yeah, I knew. We actually talked about that, I think, last week. You have to reboot and press thumbs down twice. Then I can't remember. There was a whole rigmarole to go back to the old version. I'm not too worried about this. I figure if I could skip it, I don't want to see the blue dot and the poor quality, but if I could skip it, it's not the end of the world.
And there is one piece of silver lining for those who have the Bolt and are getting the ads.
Yeah.
Supposedly, you can call customer support once you start seeing the ads on your TiVo, and they will work with you in opting out of getting those ads.
Oh, so you can't opt out.
Yeah, that's what people have said and what they've experienced by calling. Now, what TiVo Ted said was that there's certain criteria to make that determination, so he kind of was a little wishy-washy about.
I wonder if TiVo Ted is related to Baghdad Bob at all. They seem to have the same kind of attitude. Hey, Mike B., I really appreciate the update. You're our TiVo personal TiVo guru, so I really appreciate it. You'll be glad to know my Bolt Plus 3, we were talking about this, I think, in the chat room. I got the rainbow of death, which meant the hard drive was dead. So I've taken it apart. It's sitting with its guts spilled out now on my desk, waiting for a 2.5-inch hard drive to replace. And I'm hoping, it seems to be, from what I've read, I can just plug it in. It will take the new hard drive, format it, and I'll be back to go. I'll be curious to see if my lifetime subscription is back to go. I'm hoping it will be. If not, I'm moving everything to Plex. I know you use Plex too. Why not just use Plex and a tuner and just get rid of this whole TiVo mess?
And that's one of the options that people are talking about.
Yeah. Plex is promising a new Plex that uses cable card that has 6 tuners in it. I can put it on my network. Everybody can record all they want. I'm thinking that's going to be the best way to go for me. This is the new HD home run or whatever it is they call it, from Silicon Dust, that will have 6 tuners in it. I can't wait. That's supposed to come out sometime this year. Thank you, Mike B.
Thank you, Leo.
We got the best people out here, I tell you. The HD, what is it called? Let me just look and see what they call it. Because last time I checked, it was not out. The Home Run Prime 6, coming 2019. You plug it into your cable. You have to have a cable card, which I have for my TiVo, that gives it cable box capabilities. Then you plug it into your network, and you tie it into your Plex if you want to save all of these things. And you get your Plex is now not only you have a TV tuner everywhere because of the Silicon Dust, but you also have a Plex. I mean, it seems like the perfect solution. It seems like better than TiVo. You know what? I'm going to do this as an experiment. When it comes out, I'll let you know. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number. We continue with your calls right after this. Hey, we're going to Boston on Tuesday. I'm very excited. It's Last Pass Day. I don't know if there's seats left, but if here's what you do. Go to twit.to/unlocked. Steve Gibson, Bill Cheswick, the CISO from Log Me In, Gerald Buchelt, and I will be doing a panel on the future of authentication. It's free, but you need to be in Boston October 3rd, 3:45 p.m. at the Intercontinental Hotel. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brought to you by LastPass. You know what they're doing that's so cool? Everybody who goes, it's free to go, will get a $100 token to donate to one of 3 charities. It's a charity event. I think that's so cool. Again, we're putting the I did a special short URL for it. twit.to, that's our URL shortener, twit.to/unlocked. Unlocked. If you want to go, fill out the form. I can't promise there's tickets left, but this is probably your last chance. Quick. I'll mention it one more time probably tomorrow, and that'll be it. twit.to/unlocked. LastPass is the password manager. It's the one I use, the one I recommend, the one you should use, especially in business. Protecting your passwords in business is like protecting the keys to the kingdom. Your employees need access to your bank accounts, to your servers, to your website, all that stuff, the databases. But that doesn't mean you have to give up the security of your your crown jewels or the data of your customers. No, you can still protect it with LastPass Enterprise. That's what we use. And LastPass is constantly improving on it. They just set up an expanded business lineup with some features that are just awesome. Make it easier. They do something that traditionally we say is impossible in security, which is both more secure and more convenient. Usually it's one or the other, right? But you're going to love what they've done here. It makes life easier for your users, but gives you added confidence. So LastPass Enterprise now includes single sign-on for 1,200 plus SAML integrated apps. That means they go to their phone, they say, yep, that's me, and that's it. No password, no nothing. Fast, easy, yes, more secure. It's awesome. Plus, you get a view into everything that's happening in your organization because the LastPass Enterprise dashboard's amazing. The other thing they're doing is a new multi-factor authentication solution, MFA, LastPass MFA, which leverages biometrics, face, fingerprint, plus contextual factors like your IP address, your geographic location, to prove you are who you say you are, giving you, again, more confidence in the authentication and making it a lot easier for your users. They call it LastPass Identity. It combines the new LastPass Enterprise and the new LastPass MFA. From single sign-on, password management to adaptive authentication, LastPass gives you granular control of what's going on, plus frictionless access to your users in one simple, secure solution. We love it. You will too. And of course, at home, in the family, you got to be using LastPass. And I trust it 100%. Everything's fully encrypted. They use techniques like PBKDF2 that prevent brute force attack. Only you get access to your data. It's decrypted only on device, and every device you have. The first thing, my new iPhone comes, first thing, what do? I put LastPass on it, of course. Of course, the first thing I put on any device. Windows, Mac, Linux, every browser known to man, iOS, Android, it works everywhere. And that's important because you want access to your passwords everywhere you go. And not just passwords. We're traveling, right? You're supposed to bring a copy of your passport with you as well as your passport. I put it in LastPass. So Lisa has it. I have it. Everybody has securely stored a very precious document, right? Driver's license. I keep my social security numbers and the family social securities. Everything is in there, and you can upload a photo of the passport. In fact, I just did that, redid it, because I want to make sure I have the latest passport as I travel. Credit cards, same thing. Even the Apple Card, I have it in my LastPass. It could not be easier. From authentication to access to passwords, LastPass manages every entry point to your business, to your personal life. You can mitigate risk, improve productivity. You got to try it. LastPass.com/twit. LastPass.com/twit. We thank LastPass for supporting the Tech Guy podcast, and I am so excited to be going out to Boston to do this event for LastPass. Again, Steve Gibson will be with me, just off his European road tour. He'll be talking about Squirrel, you bet. Bill Cheswick, the man who invented the firewall at Bell Labs, a legendary security guy, and a guy who's been saying we got to fix passwords for years. And Gerald Buchelt, who deals with LastPass and the enterprise, deals with security in the enterprise. We're going to talk about authentication. It's going to be fascinating. You got to be in Boston on Thursday, October 3rd, 3:45 p.m. And the event is about an hour and a half, but there'll be time after for drinks and conversation. So if you want to say hi to Steve or whatever, we'll all be there. And again, the special address for signing up for tickets, can't promise they're not sold out, but they told me last time I talked to them, they said there's still room. Because they, how there's room. They keep expanding the venue. They thought, 200 people, that'd be plenty. No. Last I heard, we're up to 550. twit.to/unlocked. twit.to/unlocked. Sign up if you can make it. They'll tell you if you can go. And if you signed up and you can't go, please let us know that too, so that we can make sure somebody else gets in. twit.to/unlocked, and of course, lastpass.com/twit. We thank you, LastPass. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Flying out Tuesday. Going to visit my mom day after. It'll be a lot of fun. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888. I say it so fast. I apologize. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. I encourage you to give us a ring, not only now, but I'm taking vacation next month. So Rich DeMuro's going to come back, yes, from KTLA. He does a great job, but I'm also recording a couple of shows ahead of time because we like to have fresh material. We never do reruns unless we have to, unless something went wrong. But so far, knock on wood, no reruns. So we're going to record your calls after the show ends today at 2 p.m. Pacific. So if you're around and you can't get in during normal hours when it is quite busy, this would be a good time to call 8888 Ask Leo after the show today. I'll keep going for, I don't know, an hour or so. As long as you keep calling, I'll keep answering. How about that? Let's do it that way. Joe's on the line from Lomita, California. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Good. I got a question. I'm just finally upgrading from the Windows 7 to the Windows 10. I've heard you saying it doesn't need the antivirus. And I mentioned that to the computer store who's doing the install for me, and they said, "Oh yeah, you still need the antivirus." So I wanted to get with.
Let me ask you: do they sell the antivirus at that computer store?
Well, they know I have a ESET Nod 32 subscription that I've had for years. So I mean, they're not going to make any money off of me. They know that. But
I'll tell you my reasoning, and you can decide whether you're going to trust the store or the tech guy. It's up to you.
Okay.
It's not bad to have an antivirus necessarily. Windows 10 comes with an antivirus, so you already have one. It's called Defender. And first of all, it's very hard to test an antivirus. So anywhere you see antivirus tests or reviews, always take it with a grain of salt. The way they test antiviruses is they have a packaged set of viruses they throw at it, and they see what percentage of them were detected. The problem is this package is known. It's easy to make an antivirus that scores 100%, and it's synthetic. It's not the real world where you're going to be running up against all kinds of viruses, including mostly brand new ones. So again, take these results with a grain of salt, but Windows Defender, in the most recent rounds of tests I've seen, has consistently scored at the top, as good as the best that's out there. ESET's very good, by the way. Usually does very well as well. So, you already have it. That's number one. And because Microsoft makes Defender, they can do things with Defender because they're the operating system that others can't do. For instance, to my knowledge, they're the only ones, certainly the first ones, to do sandboxing of the antivirus. Here's one reason I don't recommend third-party antiviruses. We have seen this happen over and over again, that a flaw, an exploit in the antivirus, in the software you put on to secure your system, a bug in that allows bad guys access. And because antiviruses operate at a very low operating system level, it gives bad guys full access to the most tender, sensitive region of your operating system, of your computer. So that's bad. It's happened to McAfee. It's happened to Norton. Look, I should just, to be fair, any software you put on a computer has that potential. But Microsoft, knowing that, they've never had a problem, but knowing that, said, well, we're going to sandbox our antivirus so that can't happen. The other problem I have with any antivirus, including Microsoft's, is it might give you a false sense of confidence. No antivirus is 100%. Most antiviruses are at best 50% accurate. The reason being there's always new viruses, and they don't, even when they get updated regularly, they don't get updated fast enough. And that's what you've heard the term 0 day. That's what a 0 day is. An exploit that's spreading through the internet like wildfire because nobody has a defense against it. It's a 0 day. It's on the very first day.
Just too new.
Just too new. Yeah. And so any antivirus, I worry when people put antiviruses and go, I'm safe, I can do anything I want. No, you can't. Oh, no, you can't.
Still don't open that attachment.
Yeah, still don't open that attachment. By the way, the new problem is links in emails. People realize, bad guys realize, they're not opening attachments. We're going to put links in. Same problem. So they're not 100% effective. They can open up new holes on your computer, and they inevitably slow it down and cause reliability problems.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah, many of the calls I get are traced back to security software. So you already have one. It's a very good one. This is why Leo says, the tech guy says, don't get another antivirus. You don't need it. So sometimes the techs at these stores operate on old information. We used to say for years, get an antivirus. You got to have an antivirus. Yeah. But maybe he's not completely up to date. It's also a belief system. Some people, and I'll tell you what, if I were in his position, I might do it too because he doesn't want to be liable. You can't get to me if you get a virus. You're not going to I'm not going to find you on my doorstep with a computer saying you screwed it up.
Yeah, that's true.
He might. So he might be erring on the side of caution.
I can't blame him for that.
Can't blame him for that. And I tell my least sophisticated relatives, you probably, if they say, should I get an antivirus? I will always say that, yeah, good idea. It couldn't hurt. But the truth is it could hurt because it gives you overconfidence and it can open a door to bad stuff. So
slow you down.
You don't need it. And slow you down. You don't really need it.
Yeah.
You've got already Defender is excellent. And Microsoft keeps it up to date. They do everything any good antivirus company does. There's other problems. There's Kaspersky is suspicious because it quarantines viruses and sends it back to their headquarters in Russia. That's
along with some of your info.
Apparently, with some of their info. Yeah. So there's other reasons to be suspicious. A lot of the antivirus companies, I'm not going to name names, I think spread FUD. They spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the risks you're facing.
Yeah.
I haven't used an antivirus in 20 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'll tell you the truth. Most real security gurus I know do not use antiviruses. But they're security gurus.
Keep everything backed up.
They know what they're doing. Yeah, keep it backed up. They know what they're doing. So it's really it's the most inexperienced, most at-risk users that maybe that's not a bad idea. So that's why the tech told you that.
Well, I sure appreciate the information.
Great question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Well,
Take care.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Johnny Jet.
Thanks for the reminder. I need to fill my Epson printer downstairs.
Yeah. Wait till the kids get a little older. You'll be glad you got those eco tanks. Hey, is that little Olivia Grace rocking in the cradle of love behind you there?
It sure is. He actually just woke up. I've been trying to keep it down a little bit, although she can sleep through anything.
Johnny Cash woke her up. It's okay. It's good for her to hear the classics.
Oh, yeah. She loves music.
Nice. Johnny joins us every week to help us travel. I'm going to whisper it so I don't wake her up. Travel better with technology. What do you got for us this week, John?
I got a bunch of things. Well, one thing I actually forgot to mention last week, and it was from a reader, a travel tip, which I've fortunately I know not to do, but a lot of people don't. So if you travel to New York City, they went on a pedicab. They wanted to go 4 blocks or 5 blocks, and they didn't want to take a taxi or an Uber. So they flagged a pedicab, and when they got in it, they thought it was just going to be either in San Diego, it's just tips. But when they got to their stop, it was $35, and he goes, "It's we charge $7 a minute. It was 5 minutes."
Whoa!
And so also, and I had other.
It's funny because Lisa's going to New York in 2 weeks by herself. Normally, I protect her because I'm a New Yorker, so I know enough not to do that.
Right.
But that's a good. I'll tell her that. That's a good piece of advice.
And multiple people wrote in saying the same thing, that they're not safe. Also, that the guides they just make up history and all that stuff. So
over there, that's where George Washington got his wigs made. I do like, though, and I admit, and I know it's not nice for the horses, and I think Mayor de Blasio's, or maybe it was Bloomberg. I think it was Bloomberg was trying to stop it. I do like those carriage rides with the horse through the park, though. Those are nice.
They look amazing. They're never
expensive.
done it because I think it's expensive, but it's also really cruel. You can see these animals. It's either too hot, too cold. But I think that's going to be that's going to be a thing of the past. Not only New York, but all over.
Yeah, as it should be. It's not nice to the horsies.
Yeah, and also, and by the way, speaking of New York City, when you go to Times Square, which is my least favorite spot in New York City,
stay away from there. Everybody goes there. Why there? Why are you going there? Don't
take a picture with those characters.
Never hug the Elmo.
Well, not just hug them. Just don't take a picture with them because you want to take a picture, and then when you take a picture of them, they say it's $10 or whatever it is. And I've walked by there many times, and I see these guys and girls, and it's not good. And I've seen them really pretty much assault people trying to get money out of them, and it's usually foreign tourists.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive. Just stay away from Times Square. That's not a good place.
Speaking of foreign,
yeah,
I don't know if you saw this week, Japan Airlines came out. I don't know if it's just came out or it just was released. Really, is that on their website that you can now see where babies are seated if they're between 8 days and 2 years old.
I thought you were going to say you could see how our baby's made. Okay, you can see where they're seated. All right.
Now I know where your mind is, but so on their website it has a whole page for booking, and Japan Airlines and a lot of airlines do a great job when you're traveling with children, and I know this firsthand, and some of them do not a good job. I think American Airlines doesn't even allow you to board early. Southwest lets you board after boarding group A. United lets you board early. JetBlue does too. But it makes a big difference. So Japan Airlines does do that, but also, I think it's good because I've sat next to people who they see the baby automatically. They think it's going to be a terrible flight.
Oh,
when in reality,
yeah.
My baby is usually better behaved than others.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, we're all babies. You need to just. I think it's the passenger's responsibility to bring earplugs, and headphones.
You
and
say
music.
that as the parent of young children, but I agree.
Yeah,
I never mind if I've got a kid next to me. I always engage them. I always engage the parents. For me, it's a pleasure to see them. But I understand if a baby cries for a 5-hour flight, you may not be thrilled.
Right, but I love this, that what JAL's doing, Japan Airlines. I think other airlines should adopt it because you know what? I don't want to sit next to someone that doesn't want to sit next to a baby.
It's good for both
sides. Let them know what the babies are and let them go away. And usually when you're flying on red-eye flights, overnight flights, usually the bulkhead is reserved for the babies because you can put a bassinet there. And
hey, do I hear a baby? I hear a baby.
Yes, she heard.
She heard bulkhead. She's very excited now.
But yeah, so if you really want to make sure you're not near babies on an overnight flight, stay away from the bulkhead. Although the bulkhead normally has more legroom, and that's what I like it. So
good tip. Good tip. Yeah.
Okay, so I also have another site.
Yes.
Which I think you mentioned last night. Google Earth. They have this thing called Celebrating Indigenous Languages.
Well, Indigenous Peoples Day is coming up.
Maybe that's why they did it. Yeah. So there are 3 links. The bottom one is one to the Google. So what they're doing is there's 55 languages that are either really, really shrinking or it's about to be extinct. And they're trying to educate the public and also capture these native speakers. And they have videos of each. There's a globe where you can circle the globe, find out where it's even Hawaii is one of them.
I hear little Olivia Grace. Wait a minute, Johnny's picking up the baby, everybody. Oh, she's got quite a bit of hair.
She has more hair than I do.
She is, yes. I wasn't going to say that, but that's absolutely the case. Clearly Natalie's baby, yes.
Yes. So anyway, did you know how many? There's 7,000 languages in the world.
Wow.
Actually, yeah, there's 7,000 languages, but 55 of them, actually 2,600, they say, are at risk. So this will just teach you about it. And it's also a good way. So if you're a couch traveler and you just want to be able to see the world and not have to get on a plane, I know a lot of people don't like to, although I love to. This is one way to travel virtually.
Nice. Oh, if you want to run and take care of Olivia Grace, you can do that. Hold her a little higher, though, so I can see her on the Skype. I feel like a grandpa. Oh, she was born a little prematurely, but she's looking very robust and big now.
Yeah, she's a good girl. She's the best girl.
Yeah.
It was National Daughter's Day the other day.
Oh, what'd you do to celebrate?
Well, every day is National Daughter's Day in my household.
You bet. So, Johnny Jett, anyway. Always a pleasure. Go give Olivia her lunch.
Going to right now.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Johnny Jett. All right. Go to johnnyjett.com. He's full of great travel information. His website is a good place to go to, johnnyjett.com. If you follow him on the Twitter, it's at JohnnyJett. On the Instagram, it's at JohnnyJett. And there's always great stuff. Lately, I'm guessing a lot of baby pictures, but I could be wrong. And we'll also put a link in the show notes to the Google Earth Indigenous Peoples, Indigenous Languages. I think that's fascinating. To see all the different languages. Actually, I'm kind of a fan of linguistics. Just read a great book about the human. Actually, it was one of those great courses on Audible.com on the Story of Human Language by James McWhorter. It's really good. Fascinating how these languages have evolved over time. Even our own. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Today, Fish Amnesty Day, so let the can of tuna go. And it's also International Rabbit Day, so be very, very quiet. We will take a break and come back. What do you do on International Rabbit Day? You pet your rabbit. Pet your bunny for me. 8888 Ask Leo. TechGuyLabs.com, the website. We'll put the links there. More to come right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Smile, you're on candid camera. No. Nowadays, though, you're probably on cameras and microphones no matter where you are, even in your house. Even in your house with Amazon and Google. And turns out even your TV is watching you. Did you read that the other day? Most TVs, many TVs, there were a couple of studies, two different academic studies of smart TVs. Many smart TVs are watching what you're doing. They have microphones. In many cases, they even have cameras. They're listening and watching. They're not trying to figure out what you're doing in your spare time. They're trying to see what TV shows you're watching, what ads you're watching, whether you're actually watching the ads. The most surprising thing they found, though, almost every device, Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, almost all of them have Netflix, right? Even if you don't have a Netflix account, even if you never signed up for a Netflix account, Netflix is still being sent information about what you watch from those devices. And, I guess probably that they're getting paid. Roku and Fire TV and whoever else, they're getting paid. Netflix says, we'd like to know. And it may, maybe it shouldn't even bother you, because what is Netflix doing with that information? Well, most likely what they're doing is deciding what TV show to do next. Oh, they seem to watch a lot of CSI. We should, what is that? I just saw the ad for, it's all Chicago Day, right? They got Chicago MD, Chicago HP, Chicago PY, so if you watch all that, then, Netflix is going to say, oh, we should do more shows about Chicago. Clearly, people like that. That's what they're doing. They're not listening to your fights, your lovemaking, your parties. They don't care. They just want to know what you're watching. I think. It's kind of like the ratings thing, except in the old days with ratings, you had to opt in. Nielsen would come to you and say, can we put this people meter in your house? And I think they'd even give you some money, maybe not a lot, a couple of bucks, but at least you'd have to say yes. Now we're all Nielsen families, baby. That's the world we live in. I don't know if it bothers me though. Netflix seems to do pretty good stuff. Maybe that's because they know what I like. I don't know. Seth, Long Beach, California. You're next. Hey, Seth. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Well, good afternoon, Leo.
Good afternoon, Seth.
So I'm a tech guy by trade, and I seem to have lost track of what the good consumer Wi-Fi routers are.
I don't blame you. It's gotten crazy, hasn't it?
Yes, especially when looking at tri-band for Wi-Fi. And
get ready because Wi-Fi 6 is here.
Oh, yes.
The technology formerly known as 802.11ax. You can see why they call it Wi-Fi 6. They went to a numbering scheme. So you're already starting to see some routers from some manufacturers supporting Wi-Fi 6. The new iPhone supports it. I imagine all phones going forward will. It's really most beneficial to IoT devices, because it has some special technology that makes that a little bit more efficient. IoT can really kill Wi-Fi, and that's really what's happened, right? You know this. When Wi-Fi first came out, maybe you had a laptop, and maybe you had a phone. Maybe you watched Netflix on your Roku, but it wasn't crazy. Now we've got dozens of devices, all the Amazon stuff on the internet using our Wi-Fi, plus. The neighbors have dozens of things. They all have Wi-Fi access points, so it's gotten to be a very hostile environment.
Yes, very much so. And the other complication, at least in my house, is it's an older house, and I have sheetrock for the walls. So, going from one room to the next will take out about 30% of the signal in my house.
Yeah, not unusual. So I generally recommend these new mesh systems for people like you. They are much more expensive because they come... So the old days, you'll remember we had a base unit, and if Wi-Fi was bad in corners of the house, you'd get an extender. But the extenders weren't great. They slowed your Wi-Fi down literally by 50% because they were half-duplex devices. You would have your base station would talk to the extender, and then the extender would talk to you, but it couldn't do both at the same time. So it spent half its time giving you data, half the time getting the data. That meant it cut the total Wi-Fi speed in half. So it wasn't a great solution. Plus, the standard for these extenders was loosely written, and so you kind of had to get one from the same manufacturer as the Wi-Fi access point for it to work, et cetera, et cetera. That's not what these mesh systems are. They still come with usually a base unit and 1, 2, 3 or more extenders. But the extenders are full duplex. They have a back channel to the base station, so they are full speed everywhere. They also have a lot of technology now they're putting into these things so that they can do shaping. Remember the old days we'd call it quality of service. You'd be able to say, well, look, I'm on Skype on this computer. This needs to have packets prioritized more than anybody else because you drop a packet here, it makes a difference. Email, not such a difference. So that was QoS. You would do it manually. It was not a great system. It was hard to set up. The mesh does it automatically. It says, look, I could see Junior watching Netflix in the basement, Mom's on the web, and Dad's on Skype, so here's how we're going to do this. And it does that constantly. It updates constantly. The other thing that I think is really important, very important, number one, really, when you buy any IoT device, and a router is an IoT device, it's any device in your house on the internet should have automatic upgrades, firmware upgrades pushed to it over the air. The reason being, you can't be expected to go around all those devices and see if they're up to date. And of course, many devices made by, low-end manufacturers maybe never do get updated, even if they have security flaws. You're putting every single thing you put in your house, whether it's a light bulb, a microwave oven, a doorbell, is a potential entry point for bad guys. So that has to be constantly monitored and constantly updated. You only want to buy a router, especially from a company that is good, committed, going to be updating them regularly. And so that's why I tend to recommend the big names, Eero, which is owned by Amazon now. That's what I use at home. I also use an Orbi from Netgear. very good. If you have a smaller home with less square footage, then a single unit is fine, and ASUS makes some excellent routers that are single units. But for anything big, or if you're having problems as you are, I would get a mesh system.
Yeah, and with that, though, with the walls being so thick and hostile towards Wi-Fi, I actually have also run Ethernet to almost every device.
You're golden.
Has a port.
You're golden.
But I'm also at the difficult spot now that I have more Ethernet cables than I have ports, and I've also lost track of what good consumer switches are. I'm used to being at a business and saying, spend $5,000 and here's your switch.
Right.
So I don't know what's good in the $100 to $200 range.
Right. Yeah, see, this is the problem, is basically business networking has come home. And every individual homeowner is now expected to have the intelligence and wits of a professional networking guy. And that's hard. And as you point out, even if this was your business, it's hard to keep up. I often buy Netgear switches. I find they're very good. There's another way you can go, by the way. You've got Ethernet, which is the gold standard. If you were smart enough when you were building the house to put conduit in the walls, you can pull Ethernet into rooms. And another reason you might like the Eero, the beacon can be served by Ethernet as well. So the base unit can be, but so can the beacons. Some of them, I think maybe the new beacons can't. Do check, make sure I'm still right on that. In the original Eero, you could plug an Ethernet cable into it. And if you're all on the same network, it all still looks like the same network, but you obviously get better performance from those beacons because they're hardwired. The other way to go is with power line networking, which, if you've been around for a while, you know has been awful. But the latest power line is actually quite good. So you can use the power lines as kind of de facto cables, Ethernet cables. And TP-Link makes some very good power line stuff. TP-Link is not a bad company. Wirecutter lately has been picking TP-Link as their favorite router. But I'm a fan of the Eero, and the Eero has a lot of additional features, although, like everybody else, they want to sell you a $99 a year subscription plan.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way of the future.
That's definitely something harder to plan into the budget.
So Dr. Mom reminded me the new beacons do not have Ethernet ports. It was the old ones that did. So maybe that isn't as good a choice as it used to be. Unless you can, maybe they still support it. I don't know. That'd be worth looking into. I think the Orbeez might. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ethernet works with Wi-Fi, Google Wi-Fi. Our show today brought to you by DigitalOcean. The ocean's deep, but DigitalOcean is a warm, lovable bathtub temperature pond for you to do your programming in. That does not sound too appealing, does it? I don't know how to describe DigitalOcean, except that if you are a developer or you're creating a website or a web application, this is the new way of hosting your apps seamlessly on the simplest cloud platform ever and most affordable. You'll save yourself and your team time when you deploy with DigitalOcean. 1 million developers use DigitalOcean now because it's so easy and it's so affordable. See, that's my bill this month, $7.48. It's so easy. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Let's create a droplet. So in years gone by, when I had to create a server, it would take a week to get it provisioned. You got to wait. Look, we can use Ubuntu, FreeBSD, Fedora, Debian, CentOS. Of course, it supports Docker, Kubernetes for orchestration. But let me show you the marketplace, because this is one touch. Let's say you wanted to start a server. Let's say you wanted your own server for dead letter face recognition. I don't even know what that is. That's really cool. So maybe you're doing some research, right? Let's create that droplet for dead letter. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to Marketplace. We're going to click that button. Then you'll have to choose, of course, some extra features like how much you want to pay. I always start with the proof of concept. So I start with the simplest standard server, $5 a month. It's a gigabyte CPU, 25 gigs of SSD, a terabyte of transfer. You can add more storage if you want. You choose the server all over the world: Singapore, Amsterdam, New York, San Francisco, London, Frankfurt, Toronto, Bangalore. Use SSH keys to log in. You bet it's more secure. Choose your host name, Leo's Dead Letter. I don't even know what I'm setting up here, but that's how easy it is. Enable backups, you bet. Now, watch as I provision my server. It'll be ready to go with a console login, a public IP address. I can start developing today. CloudBees, LAMP, Ghost, cPanel, Node, Jenkins, WordPress. Create your own server. Easily, quickly, and with simple, predictable pricing. You'll always know what you'll pay. Monthly caps and flat pricing across all the data centers. It's so affordable. At no additional cost, 24/7, 365-day a year, world-class support, monitoring, alerts, 4 nines of uptime. It's an SLA, you bet. Team accounts, full DNS management. Data centers, as I mentioned, all over the world. DigitalOcean is on a mission to simplify cloud computing so developers and their teams can spend more time building software that changes the world. do.co/twit. Sign up today to receive a free $50 credit. do.co/twit. I must be setting up something kind of complicated here. Usually it's done by now. Maybe it's because of this dead letter thing. Maybe that's a complicated thing to set up. Let's create another one. Let's do another droplet. I can do 1 million of them. I got 1 million of them. Let's go back here and do CloudBees. I want to do Jenkins. So there it is, my Jenkins CloudBees server. Here's my Leo's Dead Letter, whatever the heck that is. This is the public IP address. I can even log in. Let's start a console just to prove to you that this has been fully provisioned. Thanks to DigitalOcean. There it is. Ubuntu 18.04. Leo's Dead Letter. I've got a root login. I'm not showing you. But that's it. The console's up and running. Isn't that cool? That's what DigitalOcean can do to transform your business. do.co/twit. Free $50 credit waiting for you. do.co/twit. DigitalOcean, designed for developers, built for businesses. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. Yes, smartphones. Yes, smartwatches. Just got the new Apple Watch. I guess I could talk about that a little bit. I haven't said anything about that yet. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, of course, you can still get a hold of me. But the trick is to use Skype out or something like that to call the phone number. Still toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Now, let's see. We should just get back to the phones. GizWiz, Dick DeBartolo coming up with a gadget in about 45 minutes. But I want to get as many calls in as we can. A reminder, if you're on the line, hang on the line because I will get to every one of you. And we're going to continue to take calls after the hour ends because we're recording ahead for my vacation coming up in October and November. So if it's hard to get through, call in about 45 minutes. 8888 Ask Leo. Chris, Westlake Village, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am well. Now, you're not 2 years old, are you?
No, I'm 12.
Okay. I think Kim left out a digit. It says on my screen, Chris is a 2-year-old who needs tips on building a PC. I thought, well, this will be interesting. 12's a little different. Is this your first computer that you built?
Yes, it is.
Are you doing it with a mom or dad, or just all alone?
I'm doing it with my dad.
Oh, what fun! Has he done this before, or is this the first time for him too?
Yeah, he's built a few PCs before.
All right. So that's good because I got to tell you, normally what I tell people, you're different, by the way. But if a grown-up called me and said, I want to build a PC, I said, just go buy one. You're not going to save money. But you want to do this, and your dad, I'm sure, is thinking of this because it'll be a great way to learn a little more about how computers work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard. This is the fun thing is all these pieces just kind of snap together. The hardest thing is the work you're doing right now, which is planning what you're going to buy, because it all has to work together. So you have to get, if you start by deciding what microprocessor you want, what CPU, because that will determine what motherboard you get. And then what motherboard you get will determine what kinds and sizes of hard drives you can put in there. Whether you need a graphics card or not, that'll also depend on what you want to do with it. You get what I mean? It's kind of a cascade that slowly narrows down. At some point, you're also going to have to choose a case to put it in. And if you get components that run really hot, you might want to get a case that does cooling and stuff like that. So what question? I'm going to give you, before you go, to remind me, don't let me forget, I'm going to give you a place to go on the web that has kind of a map, a roadmap for building a PC with all the parts they recommend. It's a friend of mine does it, but I'll do that before we go. What are the questions you had?
Just overall, like
where do I start?
Yeah, where do I start with everything? Do I start mapping parts out?
Yeah, you got to start with parts. You want to make sure that, for instance, you have to decide, am I going to play games? Do I need a video card, or will I be able to use the video card that comes with a motherboard? And if I do need a video card, you want to get a video card that matches both your budget and the CPU, because if a CPU can't keep the pipeline filled, you can get more video card than you need. I'm going to recommend a website, PC Perspective. It's PCPER.com. And right at the top there, they've got a hardware leaderboard, which they keep up to date. This is it used to be a very common thing. People used to build computers themselves because that was the only way to get a good system. But a lot of the sites that used to do this, they're gone. But PC Perspective still does it, and they have 3 different systems, actually 4 different systems. They have a low-end system, $502. They have a mid-range system, $1,000. A high-end system, $1,600, and a dream system for $3,000 plus. So that's I guess the first thing, and Dad probably already did this for you, is to set a budget. How much do you want to spend?
Round 3, so I guess the dream, I guess.
3,000?
Yeah.
I'm guessing Dad's going to get to use this too.
Yeah.
Does Dad play video games by any chance?
Nope, just me.
Oh, all right. Well, he's being very generous. This will be enough of a system for you not only to play the top-of-the-line video games, but also virtual reality games.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, you'll be able to use it with an Oculus, or a Vive.
Yeah, an Oculus.
Yeah. My 16-year-old and his buddies, every Friday night they get together and play on the HTC Vive. They have a big old gaming machine. So now remember, if you go for this does not include the video monitor, mouse, the keyboard, any virtual reality gear, a printer, and all that stuff. So the budget, this is what I do. You might want to fire up Google Spreadsheets and start a spreadsheet with prices and picks, so that way you can kind of see where you stand on the budget. And please don't forget a monitor. Don't forget a keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I was looking at curved monitors. I'm looking at I was looking at Alienware monitors, but
again, state of the art. And my wife, who does not play video games, likes a lot of screen real estate. She's we had a Predator monitor, a 32-inch Predator.
Cool. Yeah. That was another one I was looking at.
She now has an even wider monitor. I think it's a Dell or something. These are crazy wide monitors.
Yeah.
But they're pretty cool. Again, you need is this going to be do you have a lot of room on the desk?
Yeah, me and my dad drove down to Micro Center in Orange County.
I think your dad is as excited about this as you are.
Yeah, he seemed pretty excited about it too, yeah.
I think Dad is thinking, oh, good. when Chris isn't around, I'm going to have a pretty sweet machine.
Yeah, he seemed a little jealous about it.
Yeah. So the one we got, Lisa, and it was only $1,000, but remember, that's $1,000 out of your budget, is the Dell Ultra Sharp 38-inch. And that is very wide. Micro Center probably has something like it that you could look at least. That's pretty darn wide.
Yeah.
Here's why she likes it. She runs a business, so she keeps a lot of spreadsheets open and websites and stuff, so she can have multiple pages side by side on that wide monitor. Here's why you'll like it.
Got it.
When you're on an alien planet and they're coming at you fast and furious, you need to have a wide view of what's going on.
Yeah,
it's really fun for gaming. All right, but keep that in mind. Now that's $1,000. So now your computer budget's gone down a little bit. Maybe it's $2,000.
Yeah, a good setup.
The high-end system is good. Your first choice is AMD or Intel processor.
Yeah.
You'll get more bang for the buck, and in fact, I'm interested to see that PC Perspective is now recommending AMD Ryzen processors. I guess you get more bang for the buck.
Yeah.
They like MSI motherboards, but there's also ASRock. They like those too. But again, you should just go and look at them all and see which one kind of meets your needs. The nice thing about using their list is that everything works together. They've tested it all. It all works together. So that's the first place I'd look. Get a lot of RAM, more than you think. Think about maybe at least 16, maybe 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
Storage is cheap, but whatever you do, you've got to get at least one solid-state drive. That's where Windows is going to live.
Yeah.
Or Linux. You know, somebody your age really should be looking at Linux, but I'll save that for another day.
That's my Wi-Fi.
Nice. Nice. It sounds like your dad's kind of a geek.
Yeah, he likes computers a lot.
Does he say, hey, come on, let's go down to Micro Center. It's a Saturday afternoon. Come on. Yeah. I like your dad. He's my kind of guy.
He woke me up at like 8 o'clock.
Oh, he's really excited.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to get, I think, an M.2 NVMe SSD for your boot drive. And get 512 gigs. That's where Windows will go. And all your applications. And then you can get a slower drive, even a spinning drive, a terabyte or more as your secondary drive for your data.
Got it.
All right. You're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I will. And I think my dad's going to have a lot of fun.
I think your dad might have even more fun than you do.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm so excited. Well, have a great time, okay? And if you have any questions, call me. Call me if you have any questions. Now, the only thing I would say, by the way, anybody listening, yes, this sounds great. Sounds like fun. Remember this. If you buy a similar system from Dell, and you can pretty much spec out the same kind of system, it'll cost less. And if something doesn't work, you have a number to call. He's going to put this all together. Great learning experience. Definitely what you should do with a 6th grader at this point, or 7th grader. You should definitely be doing this. They're going to learn a lot more about how computers work. You want a kid, honestly, this generation has got to learn how this stuff works so they can make new stuff. Somebody's got to make new stuff too. Don't want to be just a consumer. You got to be a creator. So that's a great way to get a kid interested and excited about this stuff. Clearly he is. But remember, when you build it yourself, the number to call if there's a problem is your number. You can't go to the guy who made the motherboard and say, well, I'm having problems. He's going to say, well, it's not my fault. It's probably the processor. Oh, all right, let me call AMD. Oh, it's not my fault. It's got definitely the hard drive. You see what I'm saying? No, everybody's going to pass the buck. When you buy all the parts from one person, that's the person you call. When you buy the parts individually and put them together yourself, you have to make it work. You're going to learn a lot. If it boots up when you first press that button the very first time, pat yourself on the back because you did something even harder than patting yourself on the back. You made a computer that works. Wow. But don't be discouraged if it doesn't. That's also part of the learning process. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's go to Culver City. Don is on the line. Hello, Don. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Oh, hi, Leo. Thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I got an NX 510 printer, and I haven't printed in a long time.
It's just been sitting in the corner there, huh?
Yeah, I just use it for scanning at this point. But the ink cartridges to replace those are like $65.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I know.
That's why Epson's gone to that EcoTank model.
Yeah, I wouldn't print that much anyway. But anyway, my question is, the last time I tried to print, which was it wouldn't print because it needed to be cleaned.
Yeah, if you don't...
So my question is, if I replace the cartridges and go through the processes, it says that, do you think that was going to be successful?
Yes. Yes. So what happens is they get clogged up. If the ink dries out, basically.
Right.
Most inkjets, and I'm not sure about the NX510, but most inkjets of that era, when you replace the cartridge, you also replace the print head. So I'm not sure with that one. But if that's the case, then there's nothing to worry about. Everything that prints is being replaced and should be just fine. If you don't replace the print head, the nozzle cleaning routine probably will loosen up any residual ink in the head and get it printing. If not, there are ways to clean print heads involving solvents and so forth. You can certainly get it working. You might want to. You could call Epson. They have very good support, and ask them what they recommend, because you definitely want to be careful about how you treat those heads if you don't replace the heads.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the simple thing to do first would just replace the cartridges and then go through the process that says to clean the print heads.
Right.
But if that doesn't work, then I've wasted $65 for that.
That's the problem. I understand. Apparently, the chat room saying no. Epson never replaced the heads on any of its inkjets. So then that does keep the cost of the cartridge a little bit lower, but that means that the head might be clogged at this point. They have a pretty good FAQ. I'm looking at their support for the 510 on the website. They have a pretty good support page for how to get that working again. I can't promise it's going to work. I really can't. That is the drawback on most inkjets. More recently, what Epson's been doing, particularly with the EcoTank, is they have some special coatings they put on the print heads to keep them from clogging with lack of use. That's something that really does make a difference. But your 510's old enough now, it probably doesn't have that feature.
Yeah, no, that's like, and even when I had it, I used up all the ink cartridges because I was printing out things from the Hubble telescope.
Oh, cool.
The galaxies and nebulas and stuff, and man, did that chew up the ink.
Well, and just as a word of warning, so will the cleaning cycle. It really runs through ink, but it is probably going to be necessary to do at least a nozzle cleaning.
Yeah. So then, if I just print like something like once a month, that would keep it.
I'd print once a week.
Oh, once a week. Oh, okay.
That's been my experience, and yeah, I would. It's one of the reasons. It's only negative. Inkjet has so many advantages, especially if you want color, which obviously you did with the Hubble. The photo printing, nothing surpasses an inkjet. But unfortunately, the drawback of an inkjet is if you don't use it, it will clog. They tend to clog.
You don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah. Even the color lasers, which are getting much less expensive, aren't. The color is kind of, it's what they call business color. It's kind of washed out.
Yeah.
So the inkjet, anybody does photo printing or any kind of color printing, inkjet really is the best solution.
I did that when I first got it. I was printing up.
Oh yeah, you tend to. We're printing less and less, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't. I'm so old school. I still got a flip phone that doesn't even have.
Oh well, yeah. The paperless office is a distant future for you, I guess.
Okay. All right,
Thanks
Leo.
for the call. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, this is a relief. Here's the good news. Petaluma police, the suspect was arrested in the pumpkin patch. He has the pumpkin patch suspect has been arrested. Oh, I gotta do the face unlock. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Line 1 is Pat in Orange County. Hello, Pat.
Hello, and Petaluma sounds wonderful.
Did you hear in the break I was reading the story of the crook who got caught in the corn maze? He was running from the police and went to every year in Halloween we have a big corn maze. The kids love to get lost in it. I guess the crook got lost in it too, but they found
You
them.
know, that might solve some of our problems down here. Throw them in a corn maze.
You can't get out. I go in every year. Every year I say, oh, we'll get out of this, no problem. It's just a corn maze after all. 3 hours later, we're going, help. Help. It's a pretty big corn maze, I gotta
my gosh.
Small town living.
You never know what you're going to learn when you turn this program in. I'll tell you, I'm not a tech person, but I will always stay tuned for the Gizwiz because I found out about the silent pocket there.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm forever going to hang in there until I hear the Gizwiz part.
Well, Dick is here. He's ready. He's going on next. So they're putting his makeup on and getting his clown suit on. So stay tuned right after you, actually.
Okay, I will. Like I say, I'm not a tech person. I have an acquaintance who has a condition where his voice fades out.
Oh.
It's long-term.
Oh.
It's going to require a lot of therapy, and in the meantime, he's getting very frustrated. Nobody can talk to him because his voice is so light you can't hear him.
How frustrating.
So I was wondering if you would know of any kind of device where he could type something in and it would pop up on the device of the person next to him. I specifically had in mind a device that a lady I used to know worked for an international law firm. She would type on her device. It would go overseas and automatically translate into the language of that person. Then that person would type and send her a message, and it would automatically translate into English.
Yes.
And since there are possibly two languages involved here, I wondered if you knew of a device like that. And also, are there specialized places where you can buy these super electronic type of things that you can't buy at Best Buy or Fry? So I actually have two questions.
So the question is really about something we call assistive technology, where technology is used to assist somebody with a disability in a variety of ways. For instance, for a long time, TTY has been available for people who are hard of hearing or deaf. You can call a TTY operator and say, I'm going to call my deaf friend, can you please type this in? You'll speak, and the deaf person has a TTY or a TDD, sometimes they call it, on his desk next to his phone. He can read, type in response, and then she'll read that back to the caller on the other end. So it's also used for people who are speech impaired, as a matter of fact. It's a way that you can use the telephone. Now, the interesting thing is what you're talking about can be done very easily today with any modern smartphone or tablet device in a variety of different ways. Of course, messaging is going to solve that right away. So if the person he's talking to, if he could even have it on an iPad and message himself or type into an app on his phone and then pop up on another device that's the person across from is holding, he could absolutely do that. It's kind of like a notepad. You know, we've all seen that in the movies where somebody who can't speak writes on a notepad and holds the notepad up. Well, a smartphone is exactly like that. You could type a message. If you open Apple's messages, for instance, on your iPhone, and even if you're just messaging yourself, you typed a message to yourself, it would show up in your messages on your iPad. And so that would be one way that they could do that with existing consumer devices. But you're absolutely right. There are centers all over the country for people with various abilities to provide this kind of technology to them. In some areas, at least here in the Bay Area, I think it's called the Independent Living Resource Center, or ILRC. There is an app that he might also be interested in on the App Store. Somebody in the chat room just gave this to me, called Touch Voice, touch-voice.com.
Sounds interesting.
You could put it on any iPhone or Android device, even like a cheap iPod Touch or a cheaper Android device. And it actually speeds up typing because you can have pictures, you can have words in bubbles that he can quickly choose. So it makes it much easier for him, instead of having to type every single letter out makes it much easier. It works on an iPad. It works on any website. It works on Android. But I'm going to guess it's expensive because that's one disadvantage of these specialized applications for assistive technology is a lot of times these people charge a lot of money. Let me just go to the App Store and see. You could $14. Not bad.
No.
Not bad. I expected $150. So Touch Voice on the App Store or the Google Store. Have them take a look at that.
Okay.
That might be it. And by the way, the thing that does is speaks it out loud. So he can be the only one with the device, type his thoughts into it, and it will actually say it as if he's saying it.
Oh, my goodness.
Wouldn't that be better?
Perfect.
Then everybody in the room could understand.
So touchvoice.com.
Touch-voice.com.
Touch-voice.com.
Yep. And then the Independent Living Resource Center or something like it, ILRC. There's one up here in the Bay Area. I'll have to see if I can find what in your area, what's in Orange County, but I'm sure there's something like that. Independent living is the key, right?
Yeah.
Even if you have a disability.
He has someone with him.
Yeah.
But now you say you go to the App Store or Google Store?
Yeah, on any device, use the where you get the applications on your smartphone and search for Touch Voice, and they will have it. And it's $15 on the App Store for iOS, so it's not bad at all. You can get him an iPod Touch. They're not very expensive, and he could use that. It has a speaker. He could use that. Pat, I'm so glad you listened. Stay tuned. GizWiz is coming up. 8888 Ask Leo. I tell you that because we're going to continue to take calls after the show ends at 2 o'clock my time in the next 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, will come up with, yes, another cuckoo gadget that just might change your life. Stay right here. The Tech Guy Show continues. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer. Did you hear Pat, your biggest fan?
I heard that.
What was that? The pocket silence? What was that? Did she like that? You
know, I didn't hear the first part of it. I was typing something here, and I suddenly heard GizWiz, and I turned, and I just heard the part where she said, "I always stay tuned."
Yeah, because she uses something that you really, but I don't remember. It was the pocket something.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Silent pocket. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Maybe she only thought she heard it.
So maybe. That's okay.
Dick is our gizmo wizard. That's what we call him, the GizWiz, because there's not enough time in the world to say gizmo wizard. He is also Mad Magazine's maddest writer for 52 years. Yes. Since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
I've been reading you since I was a lad in short pants.
You were reading me in the crib.
In the crib.
Yeah.
Like many people of my generation and earlier, our sense of humor was formed by you, Dick, by Mad Magazine. So
sure.
Thank
now
you.
Blame me for that terrible sense of humor you have.
Silent-pocket.com. I guess it was something you talked about.
Oh, okay.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I have something fun today, okay? The thing I found is fun, and then something that a listener found made it even more exciting. All right, so it's a lantern. We all know about lanterns. But this lantern, it's a flashlight, like most lanterns are. And then when you open it up, it lights up. And it's a 360-degree light all the way around.
Oh, that's pretty.
But, Leo, when you close it and open it up again, it's a faux fireplace.
Oh, that's really pretty.
It is so neat. So my guess would be at a picnic or backyard picnic, buy two of them, have one of them with the white light so people can see what they're eating, and the other one, every time you close it and open it, you have no way of
That's the only way to do it.
Yes. And what I love, because the reviews are going, well, mine is just white only.
Close it and open it. You'll see.
Close it and open it. And then on the bottom, there's also a regular flashlight. But then...
there's more? But wait.
There's more. So someone said, Dick, did you not go to AliExpress and see they have the same device, but they've added a disco light? Well, you can imagine that the first thing I did was went and ordered one.
Oh my gosh, I got to get that.
Leo, the one on AliExpress is under $10.
So get 3.
Yes, exactly. And the one on AliExpress doesn't take batteries. It's solar powered.
What?
And has a built-in. Let me look here. It has a built-in 1,200 milliamp battery. It is. They are really neat.
Oh yeah, they price it that low so that you'll buy 3 of them. That's exactly why. Right?
Yeah, well, when I bought it, it said, "Sorry, we only have blue in stock. So if the others, the black and gold, I'm going to get them too."
Now the blue is out of stock, and they only have black and gold.
But it also just it functions as a lantern. It functions as a flashlight. So everything else is kind of gravy. There's a solar panel on the side. It's just amazing.
This is really now when the problem with AliExpress.
Yes.
Oh, it says by 10/14. Usually it says like 6 months to get it, right?
Yes, exactly. It came very fast. Mine came within 2 weeks. So, and if you buy it on Amazon, I believe it's also probably from the same company, because on Amazon it says 2 to 3 weeks. So just go to AliExpress. I have a link to the name of the company. There are a bunch of them online.
Biz.
Yeah.
This is the AliExpress is the Chinese Amazon Alibaba's front store, and you're getting this from the Ho Sport Light store.
Oh, is that what? Okay, I didn't know. I just bought it. I thought, I don't care where I'm getting it. I need this.
Okay, I don't know if it's Ho Sport or Ho Sport, but either way, it's a deal at $8.
It's a deal. Oh yeah, I see. I paid $11 postage, but it's still under $10.
Under $10. That's Dick's motto. It's under $10.
Under $10.
Get 2. And no toxic chemicals or anything coming off of that so far?
Not so far.
All right.
That I know.
All right. I keep trying to buy it, and it says, please provide the missing information.
It is so. Someone in our chat room talked me through it. I think you have to say U.S. You have to click something first, like you're buying it to be shipped to the U.S.
EU wattage. I don't want the EU wattage, but it doesn't give me any other choice.
I think you have to click the dollar shipping U.S. first, the gold bar, and then it lets you.
That's crazy.
Dude,
it is not the best site ever. Oh, no. Now I got to sign in. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I don't want it that bad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I'll sign in. I do have an account there. Although the last thing I bought there has still not come. Several months later. Do you know they sell like AirPods, like Apple's AirPods?
Yes.
Which cost $170. They sell them for like $4. They're not Apple.
I know.
They're fake.
Right.
They don't pretend to be Apple. It's not like they're counterfeit. Right. But I ordered like 10 of them. I thought for Christmas gifts, I'll just stick a little Apple logo on it, and nobody will know.
A 10,000 milliamp phone charger, and it came and it said, "Your phone charger may say 20,000 milliamps." We're not sure.
It's not.
we're not sure. We're not sure what we're sending.
It's basically like you're going into a junk store, and
that's exactly right.
Whatever you
but
get.
You don't mind because you're paying so little that it's like a grab bag.
Yeah. Yeah, Dick DeBartolo. That's kind of how I describe you. He's a grab bag of goodness.
Gab bag.
Yeah, he's a giant sack of fun, and joins us every week to talk about gizmos and gadgets. You can find his latest at gizwiz.biz. Click the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy link. You should also, while you're there, you should click the What the Heck Is It contest. We're coming up to the end of the contest, right?
No, one more month.
One more month.
It's
okay.
September, October game.
All right. So if you can identify this close-up picture of a gizmo or a gadget, you could be in the running for an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. You don't have to be right, by the way. There's more Mad Magazines for the best wrong answers. So don't feel like
if you never went to college, now you're being rewarded.
This is for you. GizWiz.biz, his great podcast with Chad Johnson, is at gizwiz.tv. And it's always a pleasure to have Dick DeBartolo on the show. Thank you, Dickie D.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
All right. We'll see you soon. Lady Laura, you rock. Great fun today. Thank you for doing a fantastic job. Same to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, and a special tip of the hat to our engineering team led by Jammer B. John Slanina, who came in minutes before the show to find that the lines had been cut. He was able to get us up and running, and this show comes to you courtesy Jammer B. Thank you, John. Well done. Not an easy task. He says he was sweating it, but he made it. We got on the air. You'll find more of what we talk about on our website, techguylabs.com. There's audio and video of the show after the fact there. And if you're on the line, hang on the line. We're going to answer calls for another hour or so to record ahead for my vacation coming up in a month or so. Hey, thanks for being here. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week, will you? See you next time. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.